All right, let's talk about something you probably see every single day, but don't really think about. The humble QR code. You know, that little black and white box. Well, it turns out it's on the brink of a huge upgrade. This is its second act, and it could completely change how we interact with, well, everything. But seriously, just for a second, think about it. When was the last time you scanned a QR code and thought, wow, that was amazing? More often than not, it's kind of a letdown, right? You're expecting something quick, something helpful, and what you get is something else. And this is what we call the dumb link problem. Our expectation is this instant, seamless connection to exactly what we need. But the reality, we get dumped onto some clunky, generic homepage that wasn't even designed for a phone. And then we're stuck pinching and zooming, trying to find the one piece of information we wanted. It's a promise that just almost never delivers. But what if I told you that all of that is about to change? And not just because some tech company had a cool idea, but because it's actually being mandated. That's right, there are two massive industry-wide deadlines that are basically forcing a complete reinvention of the QR code as we know it. So let's get into these deadlines. For businesses in the food industry, in retail, and even beyond, this isn't optional. They are on the clock. This isn't some slow, gradual evolution. It's a full-blown revolution, and it's being driven by some serious regulations. So here's the timeline. First up, by January 2026, the FDA is demanding digital item-level traceability for all high-risk foods. We're talking about things like leafy greens, fresh fish, stuff you really want to know is safe. Then, hot on its heels, by 2027, a huge global retail project called GS1 Sunrise is set to replace all those old striped UPC barcodes, the ones we've used for decades, with new, data-rich 2D codes, just like QR codes at checkout counters all over the world. This is a massive shift. Now, you can imagine a lot of businesses might look at these mandates and just see a giant, expensive headache. But the really smart ones, they're looking at this forced change and seeing a golden opportunity. They're figuring out how to turn what could be just a compliance cost into a totally new way to talk to and serve their customers. So how do you actually do that? How do you make these new mandatory codes genuinely useful and not just another dumb link? Well, you give them a voice. And this is where a whole new category of technology comes into play: QRAI. And let's be clear, this is not just another chatbot. The technology behind it is called agentic AI. You see, a simple chatbot can answer a basic question, like, what are your store hours? But an agentic AI, it can actually do things for you. It can schedule that tour, it can start a product return for you, or check a specific batch number for a food safety recall. It's not just an answering machine, it's a personal assistant. So, the experience becomes incredibly simple. And actually kind of cool. You just scan the code on a product like you always would. But instead of a website slowly loading, a conversation just starts. You can either type or just speak your question, tell it what you need, and the AI gets it done. Simple as that. Let me put it another way. A chatbot is reactive. It's stuck to its script. An AI agent, on the other hand, is proactive. It can handle complex, multi-step tasks. It's the difference between asking, is this shirt available in blue, and saying, hey, I need to return this sweater I bought last week. Can you start that process for me? One gives you a piece of data, the other actually does the job for you. Okay, so that's the tech side of things. But what does this actually feel like for us, as people just trying to get through the day? How does it make our lives any easier? Well, imagine you're in the grocery store. Instead of squinting at a tiny ingredient list on a box of pasta, you just scan the code and ask your phone, is this gluten-free? And boom, you get an instant, definite answer. No more searching, no more guessing. Or think about this one. You're at home trying to put together some new piece of furniture. Your hands are full of tools and screws and you're totally lost. Instead of flipping through a confusing paper manual, you just scan the code on the box and ask, how do I attach part C to part D? The AI can walk you through it, step by step, completely hands-free. And it goes way beyond just practical stuff. You could be standing in your kitchen, scan a jar of pasta sauce, and say, give me 3 quick recipes using this. All of a sudden, the product itself is a source of inspiration, adding real value long after you've already paid for it. So the benefits for us as consumers are pretty clear. It's faster, easier, and just smarter. But why are brands and businesses getting so excited about this? I mean, what's in it for them? Oh, for brands, the upsides here are absolutely huge. All that silent packaging on the shelf suddenly becomes an active, two-way communication channel. It finally solves that awful dumb link problem. They get amazing new data on what questions people are really asking about their products. In a way, every single item they sell becomes its own 24/7 support agent, and it creates a much more accessible, hands-free experience for everybody. And this kind of tech is rolling out as a service that businesses can plug into no matter their size. They can start small with just basic Q&A and then scale all the way up to really complex tasks that tie directly into their inventory systems, their customer data, you name it. And it can all be accessed through voice, text, whatever works best. So, what really makes this new approach so powerful? Well, it comes down to three things. First, it's trigger native, meaning the whole experience kicks off with a physical scan in the real world. Second, it's PIM aware, which is a fancy way of saying the AI is connected to deep, specific product information, not a generic website. And finally, it's conversation first. The entire interaction is just a natural conversation. It's a direct line from the object to its data, all through dialogue. And that really leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to end on. We're moving from a world of smart devices to a world of talking objects. So what would that world be like? What if everything, from the food in your fridge to the furniture in your house to the signs on the street, could actually talk back and answer your questions? Just think, what if every single object had a voice?